I'm very happy to make cushions, but I'm much less happy to make buttonholes to go on the back. And I don't do dressmaking. But the Janome machines have always been known for having a great buttonhole maker facility. And there's more than one on this machine,
There's
isn't
11
there?
in total on this machine, so it covers all aspects of
Oil
your general
for
sewing,
choice.
dressmaking, everything like that. So yes, there are huge
And do I
range.
get a choice of buttons that I can use on it?
You can use, there's different ways of doing, we've got two different ways of approaching our buttonholes. So this is the buttonhole foot, okay, and this is a lovely one. We've got the stabiliser plate here as well with this.
Okay.
And we can alter the size of the buttonhole slightly to suit individual buttons when we actually sew. So if we've got a domed button, we might want it a little bit bigger, stretch the fabric a little bit smaller.
So like this?
So that one,
me?
yeah. So I've just got a
Okay.
basic button at the moment, and it's pretty standard one-step buttonhole. So, and again, with something like this, you know, just always sample it first.
Oh, well, yes, I would.
On
I
the
would.
fabric you're going to sew it on, and make sure you've stabilised it well.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so in theory, any of these?
Any of those. I mean, we're
Okay.
going to look at this. This is too big to go in the piece at the back, isn't it?
All right.
So I'll show you how we can do those
Oh,
in a
that's,
minute.
so that
Yeah.
gets rejected for the minute.
So
right.
it does. I'm just going to use a standard one here, which I'm going to pop in,
Okay.
tighten it up so it sits in there really well.
Okay.
And we're going to sample it and say we've got the little feature here. Well, we can, when we've sewn the buttonhole,
Right.
initially think we need a tiny bit bigger or a tiny bit smaller.
Okay.
So that's a really nice feature with it. The buttonhole foot, I've seen people, it's automatic, people want to put it on that way for some reason, but it actually goes on this way. Very easy to pop on. It literally, drop the foot off, and it will just go on exactly the same way as any other foot does on your machine. So there's nothing scary about putting the buttonhole foot on. So now, the important thing to remember is we're going to go and select our buttonhole now. So we're going to come into utility, we'll go across, and we've got our buttonholes on here, okay? I'm just going to stay with the standard buttonhole at the moment. There's lots of different ones on there to choose from. But it's telling me here, pull down the buttonhole lever. The fabulous thing with this machine is if you forget to pull down the buttonhole lever, it will do a few stitches and remind you. So it's something I've definitely do that on occasion. So the buttonhole lever's tucked away here, pulls down, and it sits. You can see it sits behind the back here.
yes.
I'm just going to pop this piece of fabric in between the stabiliser
So that would
plate.
be my test piece.
It'd be a test piece. It would be a
Yes.
piece of fabric that you're going to use.
Yeah.
And again, with the stabiliser plate, I'm just going to pop the presser foot down. That's fabulous if you've got a heavy seam that you've got to go across or
Okay.
stretchy
Yes.
fabric, because
Yeah.
it feeds it through really well. So literally, it's difficult then as pressing the button, and that's it. You can alter the width, the density, and everything like that to suit your individual projects.
We're just watching it. So that little lever is key, isn't it? Because
is,
it's
yeah.
measuring.
It tells it when to stop and go back again.
Yes. And it's not going round a hole.
No. Afterwards, you pop the hole in the centre afterwards with caution. Unless you want a 6-inch buttonhole, which I've done that definitely. I think we all have.
But that's interesting, isn't it? Well, just for me. Yeah.
And that's your buttonhole.
Wow.
How easy was that?
I was going to say, it's plain sailing.
It's very easy, yeah.
Okay.
So straightforward to do. You have got the feature on here. If we can see on here, we've got memory here too,
Yeah.
because not all buttons come as standard. And we've got some really large
Yes,
ones
you're
here.
going to show me about that, aren't you?
So these I was put more. Have a quick look at these. These are more standard buttons and buttonholes. Okay. And then we've got some longer ones on here, which this would probably fit.
Yes.
So what I would do initially is measure my button,
Okay.
okay, and then work to that length. I'm just going to do a sample one here for us. So again, pop this back in again, different side. These work slightly differently when we do, because it's not we don't want a preset length. We want one to suit the button that we're working with.
Okay.
So we go onto memory. Okay. It says pull button holder firmly. So just start back, we'll see what happens. So again, we're going to start and stop. So I'm going to have to go a little bit further across. So bear with me if I don't quite match them up properly. So we're going the length, sew to the length required, and then press the little reverse arrow. So we're going to come up here. So we're going to go into the reverse arrow. And it's going to come back down the other side, and it's going to sew a straight stitch back down now to lay the foundation. And then we get to the bottom, and again press the reverse, so it bar tacks, and it's now doing the zigzag back
the
to
other
the top.
side.
And then when we get back to the top, we just press again on the reverse, and it bar tacks across the top of the buttonhole. That way you can do a 6-inch buttonhole if you want. And that's right. And if that's the correct size that we need, the machine now is telling me here, do I want to restart? So I don't have to set it every time. Okay. If I've got 6 of those to sew on, once I've actually set it initially to fit that button, I just go, yes please, and off it goes and sews it again for me automatically.
Yeah.
So
you
really
can do a whole
feature.
series, and a coat or a dress,
anything.
or even the back of it, or just anything.
Back of anything,
really.
yes. So if you've got the large buttons, it's a really nice feature to set that.
Yeah.
And then use it over and over again.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I'll be definitely doing some buttonholes now.
Buttonholes and everything now.
Yeah, absolutely.